This is Ray.
And this is Andy.
And this is FDS Local Sports.
How's it going, Ray? Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, Andy. And not only happy Thanksgiving to you, but happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there.
Exactly.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, for sure.
Andy.
Even the Americans who celebrate Thanksgiving at the wrong time.
There you go.
Yeah.
Andy, we're supposed to be covered in our FDS logos. This is FDS Local Sports.
Yep.
What's going on with the Browns?
Everybody who watches this show knows I'm a Browns fan by now, and it was a big weekend for us. So I'm sorry, guys, but you got to take this.
Well, I should be in my Bills gear, too.
I know. Well, someone dropped the ball. Wasn't this guy.
All right, well, let's get on talking about some local football.
Let's do it.
All right, and we're going to start off with the AUS, as we always do, because, boy, we had some exciting games in the AUS, and we've got 3 weeks left in the regular season. Before I talk to you about the implications of these games, let's talk about these games first. St. FX was down in Acadia on Friday night.
Yep.
Okay, this is a big game for both these teams because they're both fighting for that second seed in the AUS playoffs right around the corner, right?
Yes. Yep.
Bailey Wasdale had another unbelievable game, goes 15-24, 173 yards, and X gets the scoring off in the first quarter of this game. Okay? X puts a touchdown up on the board. They follow it up with a field goal. At the end of the first, they're leading this game 10-0.
10-0 at the end of the first. Okay.
At the end of the first, Acadia comes back big time in the second quarter as they score 2 touchdowns and take the lead into the locker room, 14-13.
Woo! All right.
So you think they're off to a huge, second half performance,
shifting the momentum their way.
Well, that didn't seem to work for them in the third because X came right back, grabbed momentum back from Acadia, and put another 14 points up on the board. So Acadia had to make up some ground in the fourth quarter, and they did. They scored 16 points in the fourth quarter, Andy. So it was a very tight ball game heading down to the final few minutes of this ball game.
Like, I'm trying to do the math in my head right now. Like, are we tied now?
It was 30-27.
30-27.
Okay, 30-27 with less than 4 minutes to go in the game. Okay. X, from about 36 yards out, kicks a field goal to make the game 30-30.
Woo. All right.
They kick off to Acadia. Acadia gets the ball. On the return, it looks like there's a foul, which brings them back to about their 15-yard line. They run 2 plays and are now inside their 15-yard line. They take us and now
inside the opposing 15-yard line,
right?
In 2 plays.
Yeah.
Woo.
Now there's less than 10 seconds to go in this game. It's tied 30-30. The punter has got the ball, and he is going to punt the ball out of the end zone,
right?
Because he can't take a knee in the end zone and give a point and lose the game.
Okay, all right. So they're still in. So they ran 2 plays, got nowhere, and are still way back. So yeah,
right. You can see this all in the videos right here, people. We got the video playing.
Okay.
So they go to punt the ball out of the end zone. The punter takes a snap, runs a sweep to the right side of the field, and then finally kicks the ball. But a huge mistake here, Andy, because rather than kick it into the field of play where the clock can run out,
he kicked it out of bounds.
He kicks it out of bounds. Now the ball's around the 38-yard line with 2 seconds left to go in the game.
Oh, I know how this ends.
And Kieran Burnham, the kicker for X, lines up for probably a 42-yard field goal. And as you can see right here, folks, he hits that field goal.
Nails it.
And X wins this game 33-30.
Man, that punter, I understand if you're sweeping out to one side, it's probably hard. It's kind of like a quarterback running the opposite direction. It's probably tough to do. Ball might have went off one side of his foot a little bit, but yeah, he's probably feeling terrible.
You could see afterwards in the video, I mean, there was definitely some discussion on the sideline between the coach and the kicker. Anyhow, X goes on to wins this game, Grenard did have a good game, 185 yards, 2 passing touchdowns. Dale Wright, 147 yards, a touchdown. And Caleb Ryder led the way as far as receiving goes with 53 yards, a touchdown.
Nice.
So this was a very competitive game. Watch out for these two teams because I'm sure we're going to see these two teams play again in the very near future.
Yes.
Let's go to game 2 in the AUS.
All right.
Because this was a really interesting game, Andy, and I was part of the officiating crew for this.
We're in this one, yeah.
And it's Bishops at St. Mary's.
Which we expected to be just a home slaughtering.
We did.
Yeah.
Bishops came out to play in this game.
Okay.
From start to finish, this was a close ball game the entire way through. And I can tell you that this game was dominated by special teams and defensive play. Okay, I want to first talk to you about this. We know Caleb Scott can put passing yards on the board.
Sure.
But he can also rush the ball. We talk about it every week. He's got over 100 yards rushing.
Mm-hmm.
I think Bishops came to this game planning to stop Caleb Scott from running. And they did that. He ran the ball 6 times for a total of 45 yards. So they put great pressure there on stopping the run. Scott did still put up 238 yards passing, but instead of touchdowns this week, Caleb Scott put up 2 interceptions. One of those interceptions were inside his 10-yard line, and it was a pick 6 for Bishops.
All right. And that's where the Bishops obviously got the bulk of their points.
Right. St. Mary's touchdown in this game, very early on, it was a reverse lateral. So the quarterback received it to running or to a wide receiver coming across.
Yep.
The wide receiver tossed it back to a running back.
Yep.
And the ball was fumbled.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a very close play, Andy. I'm going to have you take a look at it because it was ruled the ball went backwards. And St. Mary's recovered and took it for the length of the field for a touchdown.
So on the second handoff from the receiver to the running back, the ball was going backwards, according to the officials.
Right.
Okay, gotcha. I hate that play, by the way. I hate that play.
It's a tough play.
It's even worse in the NFL when you see it run, but yeah, anyway.
I told you this game came down to special teams.
Yes.
I want to talk to you about the kickers because we always know Brian Hope's going to play a big role with the St. Mary's team. He goes 3 for 3 on field goals and 1 for 1 in his extra point.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler Gray, the field goal kicker for Bishops, goes 1-1 on his extra points, 0 for 3 on his field goals.
Ooh.
2 went wide, 1 hit the upright.
Okay.
That was really the big difference in this game was special teams. Bishops was in this game right to the end, and if not for a late score, this game's even tighter.
Even closer, yeah.
Even
the
tighter.
18-9 doesn't do it justice as to how close it was, right?
Absolutely. This was a really good game.
Okay.
So that's your 2 AUS games of the week. Here is your standings so far after 6 weeks of play.
Yeah.
St. Mary's leading the way 6-0. St. FX is 4-2. Here's where it gets really interesting, Andy.
Super interesting.
Acadia and Mount A are now 2-3. Mount A's back in this race, and Bishops is following up at 0-6.
Yeah.
Here's your next 3 weeks of games coming up because I want to show all 3 weeks because it's very important now. October 13th, you got Mount A at St. Mary's, Bishops at Acadia, and then October 20th, you got Acadia at Mount A and St. FX at Bishops.
Yeah.
Followed up with the final week, October 27th, Mount A's at St. FX and St. Mary's is at Acadia.
You know, the one, and I don't want to beat up on this team because obviously they're legit and they come out to play, but next week is really, I don't want to say it's make or break, but the Mounties have such a tough task to go into SMU where Acadia has Bishops coming into town, right? I mean, obviously, I think you can agree that there's a favorable situation there. So next week is very important.
It's very important, but here's the one thing to keep in mind from a Mount A perspective. And first of all, it doesn't matter who's starting for St. Mary's. You have to come out and play to win this football game, period. Yep. But with St. Mary's being up 6-0, Andy, do you think there's a chance that Coach Colsey may sit some of his starters at this point in the season?
That's an interesting question, Ray. I don't think I have enough insight into the league to really make a call like that. I mean, it would be wonderful as a Mount A guy if they were to do that. But again, that doesn't make the game a gimme at all. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, maybe now's a good time to do it with 3 weeks left of the season. Maybe you don't want to do it that final week because you want to go into the playoffs finely tuned. So maybe they start resting guys for the next 2 weeks. You know, since there's so many games ahead, that we'll be watching for that. That's very interesting.
It's something I thought about on the way home. I mean, if you're going to rest
Huskies,
guys,
feel free to do it. Against the Mounties, please. Thanks.
That's your AUS wrap up, Andy.
All right. You want to talk about some high school football, right?
I'd love to talk about some high school football because I reffed a doozy of a football game on Friday night, but we'll get to that when it comes up.
Let's get to that. We're going to start with the rematch of the controversial game from last year, and we'll just leave it at that. And I believe maybe you were telling me this that day, but was it played exactly 1 year?
Yes, it's 1 year ago to this past weekend.
Yeah, 1 year ago, Tantramar faced off against Laudacy, and Tantramar took this one 35-0. Yeah. I didn't hear much about what was going on at the game other than maybe Laudacy was putting up a fight early, and then, you know, Tantramar did its thing and just took over. Once they get the momentum, it's over.
Well, as you know, we were the night of this game. I was planning on going to watch the game, but you and I sat on the show across the line with Chris Dobson and Chris Corey.
Hey, guys.
Rogers Television. You can go see that. Yep. But I went over and caught the second half of this ball game, and I can't speak for what happened in the first half, but I will tell you, quarterback Devin Niles for Odyssey, he was moving his team downfield, picking up first downs.
Good.
So, you know, the score says 35-0. Odyssey was doing some good things in this ball game.
Okay. Just couldn't come away with the points.
That's it.
Riverview won a big one, Ray, 21-14 over St. John.
Yes.
So that's going to mean a lot for the playoff standings.
This really does mean a lot because this really kind of sews up that second seed in the 12-man division. St. John opened up the scoring, Andy, 7-0 this game, and Riverview bounced back with 21 unanswered points. St. John did score another touchdown late in the fourth quarter, but Logan Grossman, our pal from the podcast, he put up 225 yards passing that night, including a 40-yard bomb to Cody Barton for a touchdown.
Nice.
Plus, he added a rushing touchdown. Two other kids real quick. Brady Morris also rushed for a touchdown. And Jackson Green had 7 catches for 137 yards in that Riverview St. John game.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I was able to see St. John play live, and I mean, they've got a lot of tools on that team. They just need to put it all together, and now they find themselves at 1-3 on the outside of the playoff picture looking in, but it's not too late, so... Well, but they got to start playing. I got to tell you some news I heard over the weekend. Okay. I haven't even had a chance to talk to you about this. So when you look at the schedule on the Gridiron website, Andy, it shows in the 12-man final that 6 teams are going to make the playoffs. So only one of the 6 doesn't make the playoffs. Oh. I heard word yesterday from a very good source that the NBIAA has announced to the coaches of the 12-man division that we're going from a 6-team playoff format to a 4-team playoff format, right? Because they want their exhibition championship to be done a week prior to the 10-man provincial football championship. Got it. Okay. So there's, again... Well, the website is definitely updated now with only a 4-team playoff. So it is updated for the 4-team. Yep. So there's only 4 teams from the 12-man division making the playoffs now, and that changes things huge for that 3rd and 4th seed. Yeah, for sure. Moncton High and Leo Hayes are in there with a 2-1-1 record and a 2-2 record. But St. John is knocking on the door, as is Fredericton, who we'll talk about shortly. I mean, anything can happen here, but again, you're right. Only 4 teams. Anything can happen. Got to start playing your best ball. Yeah. North and South Bowl, Fredericton, just mentioned them. They got their first win against Leo Hayes. I mean, this has to be considered an upset, 31-14. I don't know if we've got any. I don't believe we've got any stats or anything from that game, but this is a big one.
I don't have any stats on this, but Andy, like I told you, when I saw Fredericton play against Tantramar, they got some big boys on this football team, and it's just about playing smart football. These guys can run the ball, so put that pass away until you need it. Pound that ball down the field, and these guys will be in football games. There's no question. They have the bodies on both sides of the ball, both strength and size, that this team could be competitive heading into the playoffs.
Well, they should have a lot of momentum going into next week then. Let's move to the 10-man. Bernice McNaughton gets handed their first loss by Harrison Trumbull in what was a real close one, apparently, 15-14. I don't know what to think of this Harrison Trimble team at all at this point. I'm completely lost. You don't know what team's going to show up, but Bernice McNaughton gets the loss. Do you have any more information on this one?
I want to give you tons of information on this, but we've got a more serious problem about Bernice McNaughton than anything.
Yes.
Seth Foster, our Bernice McNaughton insider, has still not returned from the Miramichi.
No, but there's good news. Remember one of the things I told him? If nobody shows up to pick you up, there's the best place you could possibly go in the Miramichi is Pizza Delight.
Pizza Delight.
The buffet there is excellent. The atmosphere is excellent. The people are excellent. And we were sent some exclusive pictures over the weekend. Seth has made his way to Pizza Delight. We have no confirmation that he's left, though. Now, who can blame him? I mean,
he's at Pizza Delight.
It's his first time at the Newcastle Pizza Delight, which anybody from Miramichi knows is just exponentially better than the Chatham one. I mean, it's not even close, right?
Well, this kid, when he was here in our basement to do the recording for his first recording with FDS Local Sports, he was weighing in at 90 pounds soaking wet.
Right.
And apparently after all this buffet eating he's doing, he's going to be lining up as a guard for the Bernice McNaughton Highlanders next year.
Even though, and you want to make note of the time right now, he wasn't in our studio. He was actually in Miramichi.
So, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. All right. The magic of production, folks. The magic of production.
We're still trying to save Seth, though. We're trying to save Seth.
We're going to find Seth for sure. All right. Next up, St. Malachy's 48 over the Oromocto Blues 14. This is a huge upset, Ray. Oromocto, very strong team. I believe you were involved in this one as an official.
Yeah.
What the heck happened in this game?
Listen, I knew this was going to be a good ball game. Do you know who the head coach is for the St. Malachy's?
If you say it, it might sound familiar.
He was one of the top players for the St. John Wanderers. Danny Oliver.
Dan Oliver.
Remember Danny Oliver?
Yeah, he was one of our players of the game.
Well, he had sunglasses on before the game, and I didn't recognize him with his sunglasses on. He says, "You know me." And when he took his glasses off, I went, "Oh, yeah, you played for the Warriors."
The Warriors.
Oh,
really, Ray?
It's the Wanderers, Andy. The Wanderers.
Yeah, I could have told you that. I would not have made that mistake.
So
anyway,
Danny Oliver's the head coach there, and I'm telling you, he had his boys ready to play because special teams, offense, defense, you name it, St. Max dominated in all three phases of this game. Now, Oromocto, they had, they've got some very good players, and they came out to play in this game as well. And they did move the ball down the field. I believe they were the first team to score in this game as well. But as the game moved on, St. Max just had their answer over and over again. And this St. Max quarterback, I felt bad for the kid because the center snapping him the ball was having trouble getting the ball to the quarterback. He was reaching all over the place to get the ball, Andy. But somehow, some way, he would finally get that ball and fling it downfield, and there would be a receiver going to pick up the ball. So It was a crazy ball game to watch from the backfield. I can just imagine what it was like on the sidelines. But St. Max looks great heading into this final stage of the season.
48 points. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a big score. All right, on to the Acadie Bowl 2.0.
Acadie Bowl 2.0.
Is that what we want to call that?
Well, here's the strangest thing. I get my scoring update from the Casters because we love the Casters.
Absolutely.
Casters Nation.
Cast off.
They put up 14 points in the first half, Andy, in this game. Mm-hmm. And late in the fourth quarter, they held Matthew Martin twice from inside the 5-yard line with no points.
Wow.
And late in the ball game, a kid by the name of Skylar Kneeling, kicker, kicked a 30-yard field goal to put this game away.
Nice.
So Casters have won again, but I was told that they won the Champlain Cup.
The Champlain Cup.
So there's some controversy over what the name of this game was.
Okay. All right. Well, Champlain Cup it is, I guess.
I will tell you this, though. Quarterback Sam Tremblay from the Casters threw 2 bombs to a kid named Jonathan DeRoche, and that's where the 14 points came from. And the Casters are looking great in their first year of football.
Absolutely. They're in the playoff picture right now. I expect them to be there.
They'll be there
100%.
for sure.
On to the next big bowl, the biggest maybe. The River Bowl.
The River Bowl.
Heck, Seth might have been there watching that.
He might have
seen it. I'm not sure.
It.
I wanted to go. I ended up not going. There's just way too much going on this weekend for Thanksgiving and various things. So, but unfortunately, the outcome doesn't surprise me. The Tommies took out MVHS 34-12. However, 12 points.
12 points. 12
points.
They'll take them.
I'm proud of the 12 points. And we're going to talk a little bit about the Pulamu here in a little bit. Next up, we've got the Sussex Sonics facing off against Simons. Simons took them 43-27, a high-scoring game.
Wow.
Right? I don't believe we have any information about that one.
No.
Homecoming game, the Harborview Vikings versus St. Stephen. St. Stephen handles this one, and I mean handles this one. 56-0.
56-0. And Coach Grant has let me know that he did play most of his seconds in this game as well. He wanted to give them some time on the field. They still put up 339 yards rushing and 63 yards passing.
They looked to run the ball.
Luke Ross runs 183 yards and a touchdown. Hunter Milligan, you've heard this name, touchdown.
Yep.
Blake Young, Joe Grant, all with touchdowns. Blake Young also throws 2 touchdowns to Hunter Milligan and Luke Ross. Defense for this team is unbelievable. They had a total of 5 sacks on the day, and here's some of the guys that were in on those sacks. J.L. Landry, Deacon Farrell, Will McLeod, Nicholas McCullum, Jeremiah Bigger, Austin Young, and Van Wagner. Can't say your first name. Sorry, pal.
And tried earlier.
Last but not least, Dylan Day puts up 2 punt return touchdowns on the day. Woo. That's exciting stuff going on down in St. Stephen.
That's a special teams with a capital S.
There you go.
And then we got the Arthur Miller Bowl, KV. We're talking about another little bit of a shutout here, right? KV 37, Rothsay 0.
Really?
Yeah.
I would have expected a closer game in that one.
Yeah, in the Arthur Miller Bowl. All right, so next up, Tantramar's on a bye.
Yeah.
We've got Fredericton rolling in to play Moncton High at Rocky Stone.
Yep.
Which should be
That's
a big
this
game.
Friday night.
Lots of momentum with Fredericton right now. We got St. John rolling into town to play Laudacy.
Okay.
We've got Leo Hayes coming in to play Riverview, and another big game.
That's on Saturday in Riverview.
Yeah, there's some big games. Now in the 10-man, we've got James M. Hill rolling into Oromocto. Oromocto coming off a loss. See if they can take it out on Chatham. Feel free, Oromocto. Just saying. Bernice McNaughton is going to play KV. We've got Harborview hoping to rebound from their big loss, taking on St. Malachy's. Trimble is actually going to head over to play the Castall.
Ooh, boy, that's going to be a good football game.
This is a big-time game, guys. This might be the game of the week right here. But close second place is we've got Matthew Martin driving up to the river. Maybe they can pick up Seth while they're there to take on MVHS. I think there's going to be a big game.
Wow, that should be a great game.
And I'm going to talk about this game again in a second. Rothesay's taking on Sussex, and that's on Saturday as well. These are all on Saturday. And St. Stephen's is taking on Simons. Now, we've got, Denny and his crew like to make the predictions around here, right?
That's right.
And I am not Mr. Freeze. I am not Coach Zen. I am not Sneaky Pete. But I'm going to make a few two predictions for you today, right?
Whoa.
In some of our other shows, we like to call our locks of the week. We like to call our upset specials.
Yes, upset and locks.
Well, are you ready for this?
Yeah.
The lock of the week is the Castall are taking on Trimble, and they're and I'm locking up that victory. There's no stopping the momentum here.
Castor Nation.
And the upset of the week, Ray, the upset of the week, the MVHS Poulamou are going to get their first victory of the season against Matthew Martin. And listen, I know there's 2 Moncton schools right now quite upset with me. I don't believe they know where I live. But listen, it's time for Miramichi to get on the board here, and I think this is the team to do it against. I really do.
The question I have for you, did you take great comfort in making that pick?
No, I'm not comfortable at all. Not comfortable at all. But anyway, Ray, that's it for the high school scene this week.
All right, guys. That's all we have for local sports this week. Coaches, we want to hear from you. We just did a presentation on Friday at Moncton High to their journalism class, Andy, and we spoke to them about podcasting. And students out there, if you're interested in writing or giving us game updates from your school, we want to hear from you. Go to our website, firstdownsportspodcast.com, and go to the contact information. Shoot us an email. We want to hear from you because we are looking for local reporters to tell us what's going on in your school, not just with football, but all of sports.
Sure. We'll publish your work if you like to write. We'll put you in front of the camera if you want that. It's totally up to you. Get in touch with us. And that's it for the week. Take it easy, guys.
Have a great week.